It's my turn.
Yeah, it's new products. Tonight is video night, so I do have one last video that I'm showing. This is the Gakken Biped video. So I've been showing a Gakken video every single week.
Yeah.
And this is a little short one I'm going to show.
Let's do this thing. Like there's a Godzilla theme coming for you.
Yeah.
Okay, they're so cute. I love the little ball bearings. They're actually like probably pachinko balls.
Yeah.
And they're used as like the counterweight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next up, I'm doing this one. So here's the deal, folks. You've known us for a while. We don't know what we're gonna do with selling MakerBots. We're still trying to decide. We know there's lots of controversy, and there's a lot of people in the communities of 3D printing, and 3D printing is probably going through some intense times right now. So we didn't restock our Replicator 2s, so we haven't sold those since November, and we have the page, but we're probably not going to. There's not going to probably be an Adafruit edition anyways. The way that they sell MakerBots is very different now than when it was last year, and so we did place an order for 3. MakerBot minis.
Like 7 months ago.
Like 7 months ago or so. And so we have 3 in the store. And this is the mini, and you can get it tonight for 10% off. We only have 3 of them. We don't know if we're going to stock them. I can tell you the way it's looking is we're probably not. We're doing great with the PrinterBot and the TASBot.
People love PrinterBot and TASBot.
And one of the things, though, that I always wanted to do, you and I differ a little bit about this. I actually want to have a whole spectrum of printers, some closed, some open, and you would like to just have open source 3D printers.
Well, I want it. The thing is, like, everyone has a MakerBot. I want to give other people a chance.
Yeah,
and I think the PrinterBot is a really good, low cost, openly documented, openly hackable.
And the TASBot
is the only. And the TASBot is like truly open source.
Yeah, it's a FSF certified, which I don't think there's any other thing. So, anyways, we're always willing to change our mind, and we haven't made any final decisions about anything. But there's 3 in the store right now.
Yeah.
And people have been voting with their wallets, and it looks like the open source printers, because of our community, are outselling when we did have MakerBots. So, anyways, that's what.
Well, we have them, and we can't quite return them.
We have 3, and they're 10% off if you want to do it. And to be determined what we're going to do next. Next up.
Okay.
These everybody loves. No argument.
These are 1/4-inch mono plugs. So if you like modulars, you make audio cables or headphone jacks. You can show the photos, and then I'll show them on the overhead too. They're metal knurled, like not steel, but they're like aluminum / steel maybe / tin, maybe pot metal, combined into a jack, and we also have the plug. So yeah, this is the jack version. We also have the plug version.
Yeah. I'm just gonna.
And they go together. So these are for making audio cables. So yeah, you want to go to the overhead, and I can show them.
Okay. Yeah, let's go to the overhead.
And I think yes, we have. I'll bring this down a little bit, maybe. Yeah. So we have a mono plug, and we have a stereo jack, and they do plug together quite snugly. And then they have a spring strain relief, and then you can unscrew them, and that's how you solder the wires to the parts. Then you thread the wire through, and you close it, and you have a nice, strong connector. And then this is an inline jack, which is a little more rare, so it's a teeny bit more expensive because they're much more complicated to make. But it has like a capsule that you can plug into. And this is stereo. We only got like a stereo jack because we didn't think it would be as popular, so we just wanted to carry one of them. And yeah, just you can use it for mono or stereo, and you can make inline connections, which might be handy if you're making cables. And there you go, 1/4 inch.
Okay.
Audio, pro audio fans.
Next up, boards.
Boards. This is the Espruino. This is sort of an interesting project. This is a Kickstarter, and we told them that when they were finished, they're like, "Hey, do you want to carry this?" We said, "Well, why don't you wait till everyone's got their all the backers are satisfied?" And they said, "Yeah, we did that, and now we have these available." So these are JavaScript microcontrollers. Microcontrollers with a JavaScript interpreter on them. And so you can basically write JavaScript directly on the microcontroller via the USB connector, or you can load in like data through an SD card, or you program through this web ID that they designed that runs on your computer. Kind of interesting new path for microcontrollers instead of writing code in C or BASIC, or sometimes I've seen once in a while like a Lua interpreter. This is a JavaScript, and they have most of the JavaScript functionality in there. Not everything, of course, but a good portion of it. And it's also truly open source, which I really liked. They released everything open source, and it's been ported to a bunch of different STM32 processors, as well as a couple other processors. You can see a list. I just thought it was a cool. It's a very interesting design, and I liked how they're taking the microcontroller programming in a new direction. And I'm actually interested in the idea of using JavaScript and like an more interpretive style language. I mean, a lot of people use C and C++. Very powerful, but if you've got libraries in JavaScript for a lot of stuff, the sensor reading and stuff, then it doesn't matter how fast it is. It's okay if it's a little bit slower because of the interpretation.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, this is really cool. This is one of my favorite new products.
Oh yeah, this is the Qi charger.
Qi charger.
Qi receiver. This is a Qi, the QI. It's a standard that has come out with a couple companies. Like Sony and Samsung and like a bunch of other Android phone makers, Nokia also. So this is on the battery. Can you go back one?
Can I go to this?
Yeah, that's the. You can also see it. So it's an inductive charging loop system. It's meant for like cell phones and like MP3 players and GPS and other gadgets that usually you would charge in via USB. But people kind of wanted to have a standard wireless charging technology. We have some basic wireless charging coils you can use, but this is a little smarter. This is a kind of a more intelligent system. One thing about it that's smart is it's either on or off. So the other charging system, like the voltage varies. With this, it's like either it's 5 volts, or it doesn't it's like either it works or it doesn't, which actually is a little bit better because you don't want to have like brownouts or low voltage or fluctuations. It's also super skinny. I'll show it on the overhead, but it's very thin, and it's very efficient. And you can get the charger plates. We went to a cell phone store and just bought a charger plate to test these out with. So they're pretty common, and you can use this to make anything that you have that normally would charge via USB, 5 volt. 500 milliamps. This would allow it to charge with a Qi charging plate. So I'm going to show the charging plate on the overhead because I have one that we bought.
All right.
Okay, so this is the Okay, this is the charging plate, and this is the center, and it plugs in via USB, and there's an old LED here, and then this is like it says like charger pad, charger pad, and this is just a generic. You can use this to charge any Qi device, and it's got it's kind of like a dish, so it's actually the lowest over here. And then this is the charging coil. Let me show it for you so you can see it's super thin, and it's got this rubber kind of gaskety material. And this is actually where this goes on the outside and this goes on the inside, and this protects the electronics from the coil. This is like a ferroelectric plate. And then there's a receiver here. It's a TI chip that's like a special chip that just does this. And then there's these pads that you can solder to get 5 volts and ground out. And so what I did here is I took this and I stuck it to a back of a LiPo battery about the same size. And then I put a micro LiPo charger. So the 5 volts from the charger coil, this gets 5 volts, and that goes into the charger, and the charger charges the battery because you can't plug 5 volts into a LiPo. You have to have a special charger. So you take the 5 volts into the charger, and then it charges the battery. So then, hold on, let me see if this is working. I'm going to plug this in. Sure. Okay, so this is now waiting, and then if I line this up, the red LED goes on, say it's charging, and the green LED goes on because it knows that something is plugged into the charger. And if I move it off the center, it doesn't charge anymore because it has to be like lined up fairly close. So let's see if I can get it to line up again. Hold on. Okay, that. There you go. Yeah, it has to be like lined up pretty close. With a phone, you would put it in the center so that when it sits in the dish, it automatically lines up. If you have like a project that needs more careful lining, you could maybe draw an outline so you know where to place it so you get optimal charging.
This is the first time this has been done live on the internet, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah. Are we ever going to have a transmitter?
We are. I'm speccing the transmitters right now, but because you can get the transmitters at like any cell phone store, or like we got one at a cell phone store, I wanted to get the receivers in first. This would be really good for a wearable project, or like if you wanted, like I'm starting to see like smartwatches that have a smaller version of this coil, and so it can sit in the dish, and you don't have to like plug in your watch. You just put the watch on the dish, and it automatically charges.
All right. Next up, Lady Ada, we've got more stuff. Did you want to? Oh, that was the.
That's the back of it.
That's the back of it.
Back of
okay. Did you want to talk about these?
Yeah, this is the what's the name?
Display.
This is the SmartMatrix shield for the Teensy.
Yeah.
We don't have a demo for it. Maybe next week we'll do a demo, or we'll get a video up. And it plugs into our 32 by 32 LED matrices. I'll just hold it up.
Okay.
So I can show. Whoa. I can show how it plugs in. So you have like an LED matrix, and it's like a kind of a dumb matrix. It just has LED drivers, and then on the back you can plug in. So you can plug in the Teensy into this board. And it's just a little adapter with like cable routing, and it's all nice. And this lets you, it's got like DMA buffers, and like there's a Teensy library for it. So it just makes it really easy to use a Teensy 3 with one of these LED panels.
Okay. And then next up, we've got this little camera.
This is the Pixy CMU cam. This also was a Kickstarter that was successful, and they satisfied all their backers, and so we're like, yeah, sure, we'll check this out.
Yeah.
So it's got like it's a normal kind of like camera module, but then it's like they also put on a NXP LPC 4330, which is like a mega processor. It's a huge ass ARM chip. And this basically does all the video and image processing for you. So you can, basically if you want to do a robot where you're like follow the red ball, or like find the closest blue square, that kind of video processing is really hard for an Arduino to do. You might be able to do it with like OpenCV, but a lot of times like people don't have like enough power for like a Raspberry Pi or something, or they want something that's more real time. So you would use this with an Arduino, and you'd pair it, and then you can just use an Arduino to connect to it via serial, like TTL serial, and say like, hey, like use the API and say like, hey, find me a red object. It'll tell you like the XY coordinates. So it's a smart camera. It's kind of meant for like advanced robotics. It's kind of like it's not like a Kinect sensor, but it's kind of like a really it's like a smart color sensor for microcontroller robotics.
Okay. Next up, all the rest of the stuff is our stuff.
Okay.
You've been busy.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the barometric pressure sensor.
Yeah. So this is the fraternal twin of the BMP 180 and the BMP 085. It, instead of using I2C, uses SPI. So it's barometric and temperature. It's really precise. It can do like altitude to within like a quarter of a meter or so. But this one uses SPI, so it's kind of nice. They just came out with it. And if you like the BMP 180 or 085, but you want to have more than one connected, especially, this makes it a lot easier. Or if you can't use your I2C pins for some reason, you can use any 4 pins to talk to this chip. Very handy little chip.
Okay. And next up, I guess, do you want me to skip to those, or we're gonna just do all the chargers?
No,
now.
just do them in order.
Right?
Yeah, just do them.
Okay.
Whatever, it's cool.
All right. So now we got some chargers.
Okay, so we have the micro lipos. And these are, we have a little micro lipo that plugs directly into USB port, but these are little lipo chargers that have a micro USB or mini USB plug on them. It's a little,
I'm just going to go back to the
you can kind of see this micro USB. Yeah, that one you can see. So this is a micro USB. And this little charger has mounting holes, and it has like 2 LEDs to tell you when it's charging or done. It has breakouts and such. By default, they're 100 milliamps. So you can configure them for 500 milliamps by soldering a little dot onto a solder jumper. They're just like handy. I actually did them for a project where we wanted to mount a LiPo charger into a case. You can use these with any single cell 3.7 volt / 4.2 volt LiPoly or lithium-ion batteries. Basically, if it's a 3.7/4.2 battery, you can use it, plug into any USB port, you're ready to go.
Okay. Next up, we've got another type of charger.
That's the Solar Micro, and then if you
Yeah.
go forward, Micro Mini. This one's a Mini B. Has a Mini B connector instead of micro USB. This is handy whenever you just need a micro connector. It's a little bit bigger, but some people like micro USB, or maybe your project kind of demands it. Same thing, little charger chip, 2 LEDs tell you when it's charging, when it's done. 100 milliamps by default, 500 milliamps also fine. You can see the Mini B jack here. You see the JST connector where the battery goes here. Handy little chargers.
And then you have this thing where you can bridge that area right there.
That's that's to set the 500 milliamp rate.
Yeah, so that means it can charge faster.
That's right.
That's cool.
Yeah, but by default it's a lower rate. I mean, you can
Nice
always
touch.
charge at a lower rate, but sometimes you want to
Nice touch. That's a nice touch.
go high rate.
Okay, and then we've got these sensors.
Okay, and then we also have this humidity temperature sensor. So this is the HCU21D-F. The F is for the filter. There's a little white square on the sensor, and that's a filter that keeps the sensing element clean. It costs like 15 cents. We just added it on. Okay. And this is a nice humidity and temperature sensor. Uses I2C. We have Arduino library. It's really easy to use. It's very accurate, very precise. It's all around good sensor. I like it. It's a nice in between. It's a little bit easier to use than the DHT sensors, and a lot more precise, but not as expensive as some of the really high-end humidity sensors.
And last up.
Oh, we also updated the TSL2561. This is actually one of our oldest Breakout boards. K-Town designed. It was like the original Breakout for a light sensor he really liked. This one now has 5-volt regulation and level shifting on it. It's the same sensor, and it's a little bit bigger because we had to, put an extra 2 pins on there and such, and also fit all that circuitry. But basically, it's now safe to use with 3 or 5 volt logic and power, and you can share it on the I2C bus with other logic levels as well.
Okay. So guess what? This new product's later.
Yay!
Good work. You got through it.
Okay.